Welcome back to another episode of Already Everything. I'm Erin Lyons.
I'm Wale.
And today we're going to be talking everything past lives and soul contracts. So, as we know, me and you know, we have lots of past lives together. And we have a significant soul contract clearly here in this lifetime. But how would you explain past lives to someone?
Past lives are just different lifetimes that you had to experience other things. So in a different lifetime, you could have been a woman, you could have been a man, you could have been a giraffe, you could have been something not that's who you are now. So even while you are very connected to gorillas. You probably feel connected because you probably was a gorilla.
Right.
Why you probably feel connected to black people and you a white person where you like, I feel like I'm black because maybe in a different lifetime you was black. Because we are not just this human vessel. We are quantum beings living a human experiment. So that's what I think past life is. What do you think past life is?
So, I like to see past lives as actually parallel lives and parallel selves. So our
happening at the same time.
Yes, our higher self or our oversoul is dreaming, because we're just really consciousness and spirit. Our oversoul is dreaming all of these expressions or experiences simultaneously. So, I know I have a past life as a tiger in India.
Ooh.
And so, but for my higher self, that's happening right now.
Yes, because you're also a Leo, and Leo is a connection to the feline beings.
Right. And so all of these, like our significant past lives, I find we have clues in our current reality. Can you talk about that a little bit, like these different clues?
Man, so past lives, especially in the spiritual space, a lot of people get so consumed of their past lives. But I have learned why you should know about past life and how you use past lives.
Right.
You want to go into the past to help you in the present.
Yes.
Because when you're going into the past to help you in the present, that is you time traveling from the past to see the clues, see the symbolism from the past to help you in the here and now.
And there's like a quantum ripple effect.
Absolutely.
If I understand, okay, there was something that I didn't learn or master in that version of self,
I have to master this in this version of self.
And the only reason why I really would need to know about that past life or why it would be relevant for now is for me to not make have that same mistake or pattern again.
Yeah, so you don't repeat the cycle. So you can move into a new cycle of life.
So I think, it's so important we're talking about this because with spirituality becoming so mainstream, people think they need to get all these readings. They're like, I'm going to go to a psychic or a channeler or somebody and I want to know about my past life. And people will even come to me and it's like they want you to tell them they were a mermaid or a fairy or a dragon. And while that's cool, what does that have to do with your life right now?
Yeah.
And so I really only like to go into people's past lives, or I will ask their higher self to reveal or present a past life, and really the soul only really does this way anyways, that is relevant to something that they're experiencing now. And it usually has to do with a recurring theme, a karmic relationship, or something that they are not seeing from the higher vantage point and they're getting stuck in a recurring cycle.
Yes, I agree, because the past lives that we are really trying to understand is you don't want to get too consumed of the past.
Right.
You getting too consumed of the past, you being a victim of the past. You don't want to be a victim of the past. You want to be the co-creator from the past of, oh, you know what? I used to cheat on women. I've done this in different lifetimes of me cheating on women. Okay, so what is this coming up now? Oh, I'm still cheating on women. So that means I need to stop cheating on women. And why am I cheating on women? All from all these other lifetimes is because I had an insecurity of myself. So me having multiple women, it made me feel whole within myself.
Right.
Oh, so I don't feel whole, but I need to do something to feel whole. What do I need to do to feel whole? First, stop cheating on women. Love yourself. Then once you make that conscious decision, it brings a ripple effect for them lifetimes, so you can bring a new infinite you in this lifetime.
I think another way that past lives work is to help us understand the polarity of something we're experiencing right now.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is, let's say in a past life, you were cheating on people, but in this lifetime, you're getting cheated on.
Yeah. So you're going through like a polarity.
Right. And so because the soul likes to balance energy, so whatever you do to someone else, your soul actually will then want to experience. So if you had this cycle of disempowering men or women, right? Men and women both do this, disempowering someone else, you will experience that energy being directed at you, because your soul is wanting to understand cause and effect. Well, when I did that, what did it feel like to receive that on the other end? This can be empowering for people because it can help them shift out of any victim consciousness. Well, why is this happening to me? Why am I experiencing this with this person? Or why is this our dynamic? You can empower yourself by understanding, well, hey, maybe I'm experiencing the polarity of my own karma.
Yes.
and that's okay.
And you actually need to go through that experience to gain the wisdom of that karma. The best way to really embody wisdom is to go through human, and I wouldn't just say human experiences, just experiences to go through of why do people kill people? Maybe you should go through a lifetime. Maybe you should kill people.
And I know for humans,
and I know for human people, he's like, oh my God, you're talking about killing? You're talking about Ted Bundy? Yeah. I fully understand that. However, some people actually need to go through that experience because they, in a different lifetime, hated that they had such a vibration of hate that they became that.
Now, this is another way that our souls and our higher selves work with all these different lifetimes. And this is so relevant for people who are connected to this podcast specifically because most of you are starseeds, light workers, etc., bringing higher light to humanity. We will sometimes incarnate to have the experience of something, to understand it, knowing that in a parallel timeline like this one, we're going to shine light on it. So let's say, we'll just keep using the cheating theme. You incarnated into I like to call it the Earth Dream School, to explore the theme of cheating. Or basically lying, being disempowered, not being truthful, and all of the whatever goes into somebody becoming that type of person. But then you come back as, let's say, a relationship coach. You might be a relationship coach right now, but your soul has needed to accumulate deeper wisdom
from different timelines
and understanding so that then you could be a teacher and a healer in that particular lane of mastery.
Absolutely. And I feel like that's why some people just know things and don't know how they just know it, or they're just naturally they are like a natural like teacher or a natural healer, or they're just natural at coaching because they have went through so many other experiences as a human or not human that helped them of, okay, now you are Adewale Adewi. This is what you can do now in this lifetime from these experiences you just had in these last 7 lifetimes.
So I know tons of people want to know, how can they unlock past lives or discover past lives? What do you think?
First thing that you can unlock past life is them shrooms, baby. That psychedelic, baby. Plant medicine, because when you tap into not just shrooms but different psychedelics, it actually takes you into the quantum reality.
Sure.
So you will actually see yourself of your first ever lifetime, or you might go to the beginning. You might go something beyond your human vessel. So going through those experiences, it can help you to see like, oh, in the past life, I was a king. Oh, in the past life, I was a chimpanzee. In the past life, shoot, I was a tree. What does that mean? So I think that's like one of the biggest things that you can kind of go through. I think another thing is past life regressions, like kind of what Dolores Cannon do. That could be a good thing. But what do you think would be some good things people could do for past lives?
Okay, I think past lives can also be revealed in dreams, in your dream space.
I agree.
So if you set the intention, hey, higher self, spirit, what is a past life that is relevant to my experience right now? And I want to emphasize that again, because this is not about you. You know what? It's not about ego, and I find that a lot of people
Want to go to the past.
use past lives in that way, just to say, well,
I used to be
was
a king,
and I was
but you
this.
broke in this lifetime, though.
Right, I was this and I was that, and really it's just your ego's attached to that identity, so you can feel better about yourself. So
of this lifetime,
exactly. So when we're trying to get information on past lives, step one, you need to put yourself in a neutral vibration where you're not attached to this information. You simply want to know what is relevant for me to remember or connect to because it has significance to my reality right now. Okay, set that intention, and it can be revealed to you, or aspects of it can begin to be shown to you in your dreams. And I also want to highlight, you might not get it all at once.
Yes, because maybe you don't need it right now.
Exactly, or you might not even be ready for it. So even most of my own personal discoveries about who I am and other aspects of who I've been here on Earth and beyond Earth, it didn't all come at once. It came in stages that I was ready to have that information. It came at periods of time that was deeply connected to something specific that I was working on in this lifetime as a human, like of my human journey. So I think the dream space, totally go to a past life regressionist or a past life hypnotherapist, and these people sort of have the what would I call it? They have the signature, the energy signature to help you tap into that version of yourself.
Akashic Records is a good one as well. However, how I am as a teacher, I'm not a teacher who just super obsessed with the past.
Same.
I like to go into the past to help you in the present. If you are broke right now, it doesn't matter that you was Thoth or you was Heteru, because some of these people, they like, well, I'm the incarnation of Hathor.
Right.
But you don't have no money. You're not rocking. And it's not to say that you're not of value in this lifetime, but see who you are in this lifetime.
Right.
See who you are in this lifetime.
Face
see
your
what
shadows.
you can do in this lifetime. Because if you did that as Hathor, what you can do in this lifetime. Don't be attached to that and be, oh, well, I'm this, I'm that. Do you know who I am? Yeah. Show.
How is your mastery manifesting in your life? And so this has nothing to do with how much money you have being a reflection of your true soul mastery, but it's more so, I think people need to focus on what's present.
Yes. Here and now.
Here and now. And the only reason why we're connecting to the past is to live a better now.
Yes, to empower you in the now.
Not just connecting to the past for the sake of saying I was a fairy, a mermaid, or a dragon.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
however, I do think you need those revelations of, some people are at a disempowerment state.
Right.
So I do think people need to see like, oh, I done this.
Their range and their true infinite
I helped create
self.
this.
I agree.
Oh, I have helped this many people. Revelations, brain blast. That I do think people actually do need. People do need a brain blast of like, oh, you have done some big shit.
I just got a vision of like Jimmy Neutron when he used to go, like what?
Jimmy Neutron, literally.
Yeah. So we're totally on the same page with connect to the past to empower you in the present. If you're doing it as a means of ego, I mean, from what I see in my work, spirit actually limits you and blocks you from certain information because you don't have the spiritual maturity to.
Yeah.
And this is actually where channeled information becomes distorted. When people are in a ego vibration, but they're trying to get this information, but they're actually receiving like false information or negatively implanted information, and then it sends them down this rabbit hole of like, I was Thoth or I was whoever you think you were, but now you're getting so lost in that you're not doing anything with your now.
Yes. You supposed to be Jack Wilson right now, not Fo. Be Jack Wilson. How is Jack Wilson going to be remembered? What is the legacy Jack Wilson
Right. Focus
is
on
going
your
to do right now?
legacy. So I know you and I have so many past lives together. All of our like most significant timelines on Earth, we're pretty much here together. And so I want to talk about soul contracts and how people can use their soul contracts to, honestly, as a tool for empowerment. Because I think so many people, when they think about soul contracts, they automatically go to, I'm trying to get the fuck away from this person. Like, how do I break this soul contract? Or how do I, so like, what's your perspective on soul contracts and how we can use them?
Soul contracts is basically helping you to understand why I met this person. You met that person because they're helping you with some wisdom. They're helping you with something that you need to be taught, or you need to remember, or you have to learn. So, for example, my mom is my mom. The reason I have my mom, and this is actually real information, my mom is a Pisces stellium. I'm a Pisces stellium. My mom is helping me to understand how to be in tune to my divine feminine energy.
Yes.
My mom is helping me to understand how to be in tune with my emotions. My mom is helping me to understand how I can be empowered in my dream, because that's what Pisces is. So that's a soul contract that I have with my mom. You might have a soul contract with a woman to show you, oh, this is not what the energy you should be with. This is not the energy of embodiment. This is not the energy you need to be in for higher timelines, because you need to learn this lesson that this is a shadow aspect.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So I believe, and I think we all go through soul contract with different people to help us in different roles to activate another level of our infinite self.
Exactly. So I see soul contracts as there are different types of roles that people can play on your journey.
Yes.
So you have contracts that they are going to be like those tough relationships that you have with people romantically.
Karmatic
right,
relationships.
Those are more karmic in nature. Or you can also have soul contracts with people to show up as a friend when you need it in a certain time.
Yes.
Or somebody to be a teacher. I think of like different coaches that people have. Like it could be a basketball coach or your cheerleading coach when you were younger and they taught you these different things. Or if you have a favorite teacher.
Yeah.
Those are different types of contracts, the role that they're there to play for you. You can have contracts with people who are here to build things with you.
Correct.
So I think people have to start asking, okay, what role, if you simply ask, what role is this person playing in my life right now?
It will be
that
revealed.
will tell you everything you need to know about that contract. I also feel that if you're experiencing a relationship or dynamic with someone or you can have a contract with something as well. It's not always a person.
A person, yeah, I agree.
And you don't like it. It's always teaching you something about yourself and your own shadow. So soul contracts are also mirrors.
Mirrors to see so you can move and overcome that mirror.
Now, what does this look like? You could be in a relationship with, let's say, a narcissist right now. And this person is continuously putting you down. This person is continuously maybe finding flaws and faults within you or just disempowering you. But if we look at it as a mirror, it's really showing you where you believe these things about yourself or where you give power away.
Because you attract what you are.
Yes.
So if you are in a relationship with someone who's putting you down, it's probably because you look down over yourself. So this person is coming to you as a human vessel of, yo, you are looking down on yourself. When are you going to start to stand up for yourself? When are you going to start to have courage for yourself? When are you going to have to actually have empowerment of yourself? The more you start to see that in awareness, then you're going to see that now the person going to be like, you know what, I want to break up with you. Because you actually learned that lesson from that soul contract.
And they're vibrating out of
your experience because you have vibrated out that energy of being in a down state.
And I also think that these contracts are not permanent.
Correct.
So I think people
for the
can
time and space.
get even attached to I'll use the example of twin flames, where it's like, well, this is my twin flame, but you're in this relationship and it's negative, it's toxic, it's draining your energy, but because you're attached to the idea that we have this permanent connection, you get sort of lost in the energy with this person. So it really doesn't matter what type of contract you think you have with someone. None of these things are permanent agreements if they stop serving your higher purpose.
Correct.
So I want people to understand that contracts are always being reevaluated.
Always. You don't always have to go into the contract. If you feel like that contract ain't serving your highest good, leave that contract.
So
leave that contract.
you can actually quantum leap
out that contract.
out of a contract, and that's actually how I met you. So
touch on that.
Yeah, so I'll touch on, there were some other relationships I was supposed to experience before meeting you. And because of a certain decision I made to leave a former relationship, it was almost sort of like my soul went, oh, we accomplished or mastered that milestone earlier than expected. So you don't have to actually go through these other two relationships. So we're just going to quantum leap you to your soulmate, basically. So I want people to understand that you can transmute any relationship, any reflection, any contract, if you are willing to learn what's being put in front of you, or if you're willing to master what's being put in front of you, as opposed to being attached.
And that is very, very powerful, because I do feel like people feel like they're obligated to go through soul contract. They feel like they're obligated to actually be with people or go through certain things, like, well, you know, that's my twin flame. That's part of my same soul, so I can't be out without them. Which, in the grand scheme, I get what they're saying, but they're keeping you stuck. It's keeping you in the energy of being codependent. You want to use these soul contracts to quantum jump, to quantum ascend, not to just be in a time loop because of what your human mind is trying to tell you of what you're perceiving, what it's supposed to be.
And this is what makes it difficult as a human, because we just have attachment, right? We're attached to the idea of being with someone, or being, it could be anything, being at a certain job, or having a certain thing, or doing a certain thing. But our soul is always going to actually challenge us for expansion. And to truly expand, there are going to be moments and times in your life where you're going to have to reevaluate and decide, is this the energy I want in my life? And that is a part of the contract. That's a part of your higher self and their higher self agreeing, either, okay, we have more to create or expand together, or we don't.
Correct.
And that's okay.
Yeah, and I want to touch on something that was a big soul contract for me, that was a big revelation in my life, and it was football. Man, I used to be in my dreams. I used to be in akashic records. I used to be manifesting me to be in the NFL. But something happened where it happened before it actually happened, but my mom told me after it happened. My mom told me that this woman told her that I wasn't going to go to the NFL. And after I didn't go to the NFL, my mom actually told me that, and I had to reflect of like, why did that happen? What made that woman say that? Why did I not go to the NFL? This was my dream. This is everything that I wanted. This is what I fully desired. And I had a revelation the more I started maturing and growing up, is that Source said bigger. Source said more. Source said, you think you can just be just a football player. You think that you're just an athlete. But you're so much more. You're so much more. So I had to surrender into that energy of that is so much more, and be like, you know what? I agreed to this soul contract with football. I thought this soul contract was going to be for way longer than what it was. I thought I was going to at least go to the NFL, but that was actually my ego.
And if you would have kept pursuing something that you could feel was falling out of alignment, that's when we start manifesting and attracting other delays and blockages, or we can have, our soul can try to wake us up. So I think you should talk about your near death experience, because I'm just feeling like there's a big connection between that wake up call from the higher self. It's trying to get your attention, and maybe something catastrophic happens so you can get on the path of your, I don't even want to say true purpose, because I see everything we experience as being a part of our purpose, but the next phase of our contract here on earth.
Yeah. I think for me, especially for my consciousness, and I just know how I am, I think I actually needed that near-death experience, which I had too, but I want to talk about the one that's very significant for this topic we're talking about. I want to talk about my second near-death experience of it actually sat me the hell down.
Yeah.
I wanted to, go to Tijuana. I wanted to go here. I kind of wanted to be nomadic.
So what exactly happened?
So what actually happened was I went to Tijuana, and I went to Tijuana because my daughter lives in Tijuana. So I wanted to go see my daughter. And I also went with someone else. I went with a friend that we was very platonic, and she was very spiritual, very in tune with astrology and tarot, and we just really connected with that astrology piece. So she ended up going with me. We went to Tijuana. We was there for about 2 to 3 days. And on the third day, I made a decision that I was going to go on a water fast. And this water fast, I was going to go on for 5 days. Me and my friend, we had our last meal that night. That night was Monday. We ended up having like a nice salad. She went to sleep, and then when she went to sleep, she was showing me something with DJing and astrology, and I was loving the vibe. And after I got done watching that, I went to sleep. When I woke up on Wednesday.
Oh, wow.
So I was actually asleep from Monday night, whole Tuesday, and woke up Wednesday morning. But the biggest significance of this story was when I woke up, my friend she had transitioned.
Okay. So you woke up and she was dead.
Yes.
Okay.
So this was like very mind-blowing of, okay, what happened? Like, how?
Did you look at your phone for the date? Like, oh, what day
I
is
looked
it?
at the date and see that it was Wednesday, and then I seen that people called me on Tuesday, and I was not up.
Wow.
So I was just like, whoa.
What happened?
What happened? So, end up trying to call the police. I didn't speak Spanish, so it really didn't kind of go through. Went downstairs, tried to talk to somebody. They didn't understand my English, and they just closed the door on me. So I went back upstairs like, you know what? I need to take a moment to kind of get in tune with my breath, because I was just like, it's a dead body. How's my friend dead? Lit an incense, and once I lit the incense, it blew up in my face. And once it blew up in my face, I had to run for my life, and I had to take my clothes off.
You basically were on fire.
I was literally on fire, whole body on fire. And once I got done burning, the ambulance came, police came, people came out, and a voice came, but it went into, I was like in a trance, and it did this. It was like, this is your testimony. And my logic did not make sense.
Sure.
So eventually went to the hospital, ended up finding out that it was a gas leakage in the Airbnb that we were staying in.
So carbon monoxide was in the air, and so she suffocated.
Correct.
Probably because her body weight was lower than yours.
And she also had asthma.
Okay.
Where with me being an athlete and me being a person who kind of meditates.
And you lived in Utah.
And I lived in Utah. I learned how to move in another level of my breath.
Okay.
So since I could move through another level of my breath, it took me to basically a meditative state than me actually dying. And why this is such significance, from that burn experience, I actually lost the ability to walk. I lost the ability that my face, of what you guys are seeing right now, was completely gone.
Like when you say gone, just burnt.
It was burnt.
Yeah.
Completely burnt. Like barbecue chicken, literally. And it was very humbling for me. It put me in a different state of, I had to surrender and I had to move into source. And me surrendering and moving into source, I was able to start seeing things in different perspectives that I've never seen before.
Yourself.
About myself.
Okay.
And I start to see more higher spiritual perspectives. And another thing that I want to touch on is at that time, I wasn't conscious about it at that time because I actually haven't met you, but I have this gift where I can go back into when I'm dreaming or sleeping and I remember. But when I was in that void from the Monday to Wednesday, you
met me in the void, yeah.
We're there.
So, okay, let's pause right here in the void. In this void space, was it almost like you could feel like your energy was leaving your body?
So I actually did feel like I left my body, and I felt like I was on this crystalline bed, and like I seen source, but I also seen you. But I was laying down and you was looking down at me, and I was like, "What is that?"
And I also want to share with you guys, this is the same time that I was actually leaving my relationship. So when I say I quantum leaped out of a relationship and it opened the door for this connection, I believe that our higher selves were both reevaluating all of our contracts. Like we were kind of just like collapsing in old timeline completely. So I was getting prepared to meet you. And I think this near-death experience, you were being prepared to meet me.
Absolutely. And I think the symbolism of what I decoded was fire. Fire is a representation of Leo. You are a Leo. I thought I was going to go on a water fast. It said, no, you going on a fire
fast.
fast. So
Yeah.
it actually, things came more faster.
And then, had you not had that experience, you wouldn't have been in San Diego.
Correct.
So I ended my relationship. I moved to San Diego a week after ending that relationship. And this was just purely based on spirit telling me move to San Diego. I had never even lived in visited San Diego. And so I'm like packing and I'm asking myself and my guys, I'm like, why am I packing like a mad woman? Like it literally felt like I was on the run or something. Like it was insane. But there was so much energy and momentum moving. Like I just had to go. So had I not gotten to San Diego, we probably would have missed each other. Like the timing, because like you were here after your explosion, but you were going to leave and go to St. Louis.
Absolutely.
Until you met me. So
I knew it was divine alignment for me to go to Tijuana because my friend, even while I even went, she was a tarot reader and she gave me a tarot reading that was like, you're not going to Tijuana for your daughter. You're actually going to Tijuana for something else that is actually bigger than your daughter. And I felt the vibration of it and I felt the energy. I'm like, I don't know why, but I need to go to Tijuana.
Yeah.
Now, after that transition happened where my friend actually transitioned and I was in that experience, I questioned like, why did I feel that energy and then this energy happened? But I think as humans, we think things are bad.
Sure.
But I know my friend wanted to go to Tijuana because she was ready to transition.
And then also what I'm hearing from her right now is, remember how I was talking about different contracts are different roles that these individuals are playing in our lives. And I mentioned we might have a friend that shows up at a specific time that's helping us transition into our next timeline. And I see her as soul family and a friend that appeared at that time that kind of like walked you into your next timeline while she also received what she wanted, which was to leave.
And it's funny that you say that because in a past life, she was actually my brother.
Makes complete sense.
So it was very, I love Christian and I love the list she gave me because it was a time that we was in the car one time and we was in Tijuana and like the energy in Tijuana is intense.
Oh my God. I'm having
it's very intense.
A crazy realization right now because I also had friends at the time that completely helped me transition into this new timeline. Without those friendships, I think it would have been too difficult for me to just make such a huge life-changing decision. But One of them lived in San Diego, actually, and that was a part of the reason why I felt comfortable to move to San Diego. And you know her name. I'm not going to say it, but you know her name, and your friend, you see the similarities in their name? Yeah. Ooh. You see what I'm saying? So basically, I don't want to release people's names, but they have basically the same name, and I'm just realizing that right now.
Wow.
That those were the two friends that helped us. They played that role that we needed in that moment to access this timeline.
To move us into this new timeline that we're actually
just
in
like
right now.
The comfort and the support of that person. Yeah.
Wow, that is crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's if you guys knew the name, you'd be like, that's fucking insane. So, life is such a roller coaster of twists and turns. We have the villains. We have the people that show up when we need them. We have the people who leave early. Like all these different characters. And when you just accept that these contracts are a part of a bigger masterpiece, you don't have to be afraid of soul contracts either.
You before you came here, in a movie called Soul gave us a lot of codes
that movie
of
has
soul
codes.
Contract. It tells you that you chose your nose, you chose your name, you chose all these things.
The way you look, your height, your everything.
Your birthday, all of it, the place you live, you chose all those things so you can go through those experiments, so you can move into a different circle of life. Because everything is circular. Everything is circular.
And you choose the characteristics, even your geographical location and the people who are going to be a part of your journey, because they hold the unique energy or vibration that will allow you to experience what it is you're trying to access. Like when I think about my parents, I think about them both having the exact energy that I would need to have certain lessons and experiences, but to ultimately become who I am now.
Today.
Yes.
And I feel like I went through the same thing, and I want to kind of break some of this down, which is connected to even our child right now. My mom is a life past 7. My dad is a life past 7. You had 7 relationships before you met me. I had 7 relationships before I met you. Our address that we lived before, our new address is simplified to 7.
Yeah.
Then you got in your dream how our kid name should be even 7.
Yeah.
Then we read the book from Source, a person who channels Source, and talked about how 7 is the energy of being a genius. 7 is the energy of spiritual perfection.
Vibration and all
these things. And it's an angelic vibration. So it's crazy how the universe is very strategic, it's very synchronized, and it's very chess-like.
This is infinite intelligence, baby.
Hey,
when I say it's a masterpiece beyond what we can fathom, like, honor your contracts, because at the end of your journey, or even on your journey, when you start piecing together the synchronicities, the mastery is so mind-blowing.
Man, God never fails to not impress me with just the symbolism, the strategic, the comedy, and like, you thought I forgot about you.
Right. Source is so funny like that. So I want to talk a little bit about, let's say, people who are currently in a relationship, and this could be even a friend, like, we have so many relationships in our lives, but whatever type of relationship they're in right now, and how the energy of a past life is like a parallel to what they're doing now. Because I feel like for me and you, understanding our energy together, we had to learn a lot about our other past lives to go, oh, that's a parallel. Like, oh, we did this in Egypt, we did this in ancient Greece, we did this in a different galaxy, we created this together. And then it helped us to anchor into the vibration of who we are to each other now.
Yeah, it made us more confident with each other now.
So people basically could be in a relationship right now where they feel like, why is this our dynamic? And chances are there's a parallel of something that you've done in the past or experienced together that's playing itself out now.
To a T. Yeah.
Can you expand on that a little bit?
So Can you kind of ask me that question, like, again?
Just
like,
more so, like, how do you see parallels translating into current time within our relationship dynamics with people?
Parallel could be karmatic, or
Right.
it could be divine.
Sure.
Sometimes you have to go through a karmatic lesson to see, like, hey, before you go into these timelines, you have to learn this lesson.
Mm-hmm.
You have to learn this lesson. And if you do not learn this lesson, you're going to keep going through that parallel time loop.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you learn that lesson, you're going to start to meet divine mates. And this doesn't mean this is always going to be in a relationship. This can be just with a best friend. Or someone you met in business, or you're supposed to do this business with, okay, this is what you're supposed to move in this divine timeline. So I think it's a deep energy of divine timelines, karmatic timelines, and some things you got to go through that karmatic or shadow timeline before you move into your heaven on earth timeline.
So I think people can identify the difference between a karmic cycle, meaning you're going to learn something and then hopefully be able to release it and a higher reflection comes in, versus, I don't want to call it divine or sacred because everything really is.
Correct.
But a more aligned partner or energy or friendship or whatever dynamic. I think the difference between the two is the ease and flow.
Yes.
When you are experiencing a karmic contract with someone, and from my experience, it's like there's always a hurdle or challenge to overcome. You're never on the same page. You can explain something 1,000 ways, they don't understand it. They're explaining their perception, you don't understand it. And it's just, there's no harmony. Versus when you are in a higher timeline dynamic, yes, there are still going to be challenges. There are still going to be opportunities for growth, but the energy supports your highest happiness. You don't feel like you're in a tug of war with that person or with that thing. It flows, it's harmonious, which shows you that it's of a resonant vibration. Yes. It's vibrating on a frequency that can withstand and sustain.
Yeah, it's chemistry.
Yes.
Real deal chemistry.
Real deal chemistry. So I think we should do something fun right now. I'm hearing we should go into our Annunaki lifetime together.
Okay.
Here on Earth, where we were building some of the pyramids here. And let's tap into what's significant about that particular timeline together, connected to what we're doing right now. This is the one that Source is giving me to talk about. So,
okay. Open up our Annunaki timelines of Erin Nicole Lyons and Wale Matthew Adeoye.
Saying my whole government name. No, it's okay.
You got this. You did all right. Okay, this timeline is anchoring. And I'm seeing me and you, but
oh my gosh! I feel the energy of it just hit me. Ooh. We are like really tall beings, like really dark. Like, are you seeing the same thing?
It's like
black, blue,
black.
Like black. A purple, black, blue, but like tall.
Yes. Oh my God! You have like this very divine feminine energy, but I have this like star father energy. So like you feel like a star mother and I feel like a star father. And I'm really big into sacred geometry and I'm really big into mathematics. And you are really big with the womb mathematics.
So I'm feeling this kundalini energy in my sacral womb space right now. And I'm seeing that we would direct this kundalini energy to move. Oh, I feel energy coming out of my hands right now. You guys are getting activated. Moving pieces of the pyramid. So like telekinesis, but harnessing your kundalini life force energy basically to move matter. Ooh. And that's why the pyramids are so precise. Like they're sacred geometrical prisms that we basically used our kundalini energy, but also sound waves to move them into structure.
Ooh, just like some kundalini geometry.
We were channeling the other day and the name came through. We called it
kundalini geometry.
Yes. Yeah.
And this is what's coming through because sacred geometry is symbolisms, it's symbols. And it's also the energy of the energy of everything in the universe. This is what Thanos was showing us in the movie Avengers. He had all the sacred geometry symbolisms, and once he mastered every single one, he was the most powerful person in the universe. So this is what the sacred geometry symbolism is showing us right now. And with the energy with Kundalini, that's the energy of the symbolism of the Ankh. That's the womb and the phallus. And the more we tap into our life force energy, we can manifest and create anything we want in this earthly reality.
So,
and this is something we just knew, and we knew to our core.
The significance, because Source wants us to drive home the significance, like we were saying earlier, not just because it's like, oh, that was cool, I did that,
absolutely.
but like, why is that relevant to now? One, with the feminine remembering her ancient connection to life force energy and how we use that to build structure, create solar systems, and even create planets in different worlds. And so that's what we were doing in that timeline. We tapped into that ancient knowing, metaphysical quantum physics, knowing how to build structures, how to cut through matter.
Wow, this is very powerful. This is also giving me downloads of Neo and Trinity and the symbolism behind it. Trinity is the zero. It's a formless field that can create anything, that everything exists. The one, the man, the Neo, that's the energy of the action of it to actually create it in physical matter. So this is a very powerful dynamic of understanding that this is what Neo and Trinity were trying to show us in the Matrix of this is how we need to move as divine masculine beings and divine feminine beings
together. Yes.
Of you already have everything that ever existed, and us setting the intentions, that tone and that vibrational frequency and tuning it, we can create it into physical manifestation.
Oh, okay. So this is really cool. I see, because now I see other Anunnaki feminines in the field, and essentially the women were channeling the life force energy like through their sacral, through their womb, basically. But I see the masculines. I see you all directing it.
Yes.
So like the mind. So that's how like the masculine and the feminine were coming together to create form and structure.
Using that. So the women is using the womb magic while we're using the mind magic.
Exactly.
Oh, this is very, very, very powerful. That's why they say the mind is all, the all is mind.
Right. It's all interconnected. So basically, women and men on this planet at this time are going to be learning how to work together, and the mastery of both energies.
Correct.
Not a hierarchy, not a competitive or like this competitive nature, but how the masculine and the feminine energies do come together to birth reality.
Yes. So the woman needs the masculine needs the feminine. The masculine needs the feminine, and the feminine needs the masculine. That's the one and the zero. You can't have zero without the one, and you can't have one without the zero, because we live in a universe of binary code. So
Source wants us to go to Greece.
Okay.
In the akashic field to our one of our lifetimes in Greece together.
Ooh, we are anchoring this Greek's timeline. Ooh, okay, this is a timeline where we wasn't connected to our phallus and our womb. It was like we actually didn't have it. This is what I'm seeing in this field.
So I see myself with a chastity belt on. So that in a chastity belt in these times was sort of like where, so women couldn't have sex or like intimacy. It basically like blocked their whole vaginal entrance off. I'm seeing that. And then the men, what you're connecting to, their phalluses were cut off. Now, I know this sounds crazy. The significance of this time is that because the women could not have like interactions, they were building up this Kundalini energy that then the women would basically channel this energy together to, just like in that Egyptian timeline, kind of like do magic to move things. I'm seeing us move.
Like Kundalini alchemy.
Yeah, like I'm seeing us do magic, like move things. But the idea was that if our life force energy wasn't penetrated or entangled with,
It could not be distorted.
right, like if it wasn't an impurity or something like that, that it would be that much more powerful, that we could use it for just like
for creation,
pure alchemy. And so the men had to be like cut off down there, so there was no kind of like no chance that this would happen.
Yes. And I'm also seeing a big significance of this timeline for us to be in divine union without physical intimacy. Mm-hmm. It was very significant, and this also put man into an energy of having to evolve ego. Then you know how man be like, well, I have a big thing and my thing's bigger than yours, and these are just man's templates that like we actually a lot of men do in this reality. And I see that wasn't a dynamic in that timeline. You actually had to be in your heart. You had to be in your divine feminine essence of yourself at that timeline, where it was actually a more powerful.
Well, in this timeline as well, it was actually forbidden for us to even be together.
Yeah.
Which is why the men were cut off, and then the women had the chastity belt. So it would there's no chance that we could do that. But somehow you and I managed to fall in love beyond those limitations. You were killed because even though there was no physical contact or interaction in that way, it just looks like it was just extremely forbidden to even, because you were actually like, these men were guards. They would like guard the women. Like, were we like basically sort of, okay, I'm seeing the royalty at that time. It's almost like as the women, we belong to them. Like them knowing the power of feminine alchemy. It's like from a young girl, it looks like they would choose certain women who maybe display certain intuitive abilities, and then you would be like, okay, I'm hearing like oracles of Delphi, basically.
Yeah.
Like, but from a young age, you would be picked, and then you kind of go into this feminine mystery school, basically. But it's like being a nun. I'm hearing like how nuns have this devotion to God, where they can't have sexual interaction. So I'm seeing that, but you ended up being killed because of our interaction, basically. That we would like kind of sneak and see each other and that type of thing.
We broke the laws of those times.
Now, what is the significance to this lifetime? What I'm feeling from my higher self is, one, it creates a stronger significance that our relationship has to us. Like, because it was forbidden to be together at that time, it's like in this timeline, we will hold it as truly sacred. Yes.
Then being in the energy of being secretive, being sneaky. Now we can really own it. We can really embody it. We can really show it.
And it makes it that much more sacred and special and valuable to us, especially just from, I'm seeing our higher selves that are like, just feeling the magnetism that we couldn't necessarily act on in that timeline.
Yes. And I'm also feeling this energy. We love music. And we love music in this lifetime of like, we would connect in just deep ways of music and travel and play with things with our minds and do all these very cool Harry Potter type of things. That's how you know we really did love each other.
Yes, we do. We did and we do. So, I hope this information is helpful and it helps you understand the different roles that people are playing in your life.
See you guys soon.
Bye, guys.